As there's a drive in a deep left field by Castellanos, it will be
Oh
a
man,
home
it's
run.
8 o'clock.
And so that'll make it a...
I don't need the spotlight. I shine just fine.
Hi, I'm Karma, and yes, I am a bitch.
Brav Bros.
You're clicking. Is there anything near it?
No.
That means the AirPods, which don't
Tuck
take them
away.
out. We figured out, but maybe the AirPods. It's
Really?
good now. Yeah, it's good there. Hold it up closer to one. All right, it's not, but it's not clicking, so whatever.
Okay. All right.
You ready?
Yep.
No, we're already recording. All right, 3, 2, 1. Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Brav Bros, your favorite podcast from the bros for everybody. For whoever wants to listen, I am your co-host, Steele Russell, joined as always by the one and only Red October. Red October Goots.
Yeah,
Red Goottober. There we go.
Yeah, I feel like you made it a lot harder than it needed to be, but that's okay.
I'm not, brain's not moving too fast today. So
we're feeling pretty good right now. We're doing this in between. We had a good win yesterday. We don't play again until tomorrow. We're gonna have 2 episodes out for you guys where we're still blissfully happy. Now, if it turns later in the week with the other episodes, you'll know why.
Exactly. And I have reason to be happy regardless of the Phillies. Don't get me wrong. Red October hit on all cylinders last night. That was one of the best games I think I've ever watched, just entertainment value wise. Yes, I think I lost years off of my life, but that is what Red October does. Whether you're boozing all the way through it or you're sober like me, it doesn't matter. The toll it takes on your health, while totally worth it, is very real. However, we brought a Brav baby into the world. Scotty, my baby girl, is here. And I am so excited. She is beautiful and amazing and awesome. And we are all home, happy and healthy. So, yeah, it was an eventful weekend, but I am thrilled to be back home with my baby. And yes, so I'm happy for so many reasons. Red October's awesome. I got my baby girl at home. So yeah, life's good right now. Life's good.
Life's good. Life's good. I like the phrasing on that. We brought a Brav baby into the world. It sounds like you and I are the parents, but we're not.
Dev and I brought a Brav baby into the world. Shooter did nothing. He didn't do it. Not that I did anything either. Huge shout out to Dev, by the way, before we get started, because she's a fucking warrior and she was incredible and got through everything so well and has been the best mom. And I'm just so proud of her. And if I keep talking about it, I'm going to cry, but I wanted to make sure I pointed that out because she's amazing. She really is. So we're happy and we're home. And yeah, Brav baby, welcome to the world.
No tears. I was at the Phillies game that was awful on Saturday. And look, the good thing about going to a game like that is there's nothing happy to get after it. Like yesterday would have been more taxing on me if I went yesterday versus Saturday.
Because you would be a mess.
I would have been heart rate up and down and then drinking the entire time. And then I would have felt like shit today. I took a nice, relaxing day of freaking out on my couch yesterday. So, you know how it goes.
Same. I was pacing around my home very, very quickly in circles, and my brother-in-law lives literally next. You can actually see his house through that window.
Yeah.
If you keep looking through, that's his house. He's also a huge fan, and so we were going back and forth on text. When we won, I ran outside and slammed on. I almost broke his window. I'm not gonna lie. I was slamming on his window because I was so excited.
Jesus.
Yeah, but we're here to talk about RHOSLC, and this is a good season. And I feel like the ratings aren't reflecting that, which is interesting to me. They've been talking about the low ratings, but as far as the first 2 episodes go, they're fantastic. I'm thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah, no, so am I. And look, I'm not going to be the ratings police on this one today. We can try to surmise why the ratings are down, but as I remember from last year, pretty much the entire season, we talked about how good it was, and I think the people were really down on it. And then, of course, that finale had like record-breaking ratings for that because people were watching it live, people were watching it the day after, and it just all kind of came together in a beautiful concoction of ratings. This, I'm wondering if people had the same reservations that we did. What are they going to do now? How are they going to piece it together? Are they going to just be talking about last year? And they're not. They've completely moved on for the most part. I mean, yes, there's some lingering issues with Heather in particular that we'll talk about in this episode, but for the most part, it's really enjoyable. And I was talking to my girlfriend today about how nice it is to have not just one, not two, not three, but 4 housewife shows on right now. We're still going to have to wait and see how Potomac goes, but the 3 of them are enjoyable. And
Mhm.
it's just nice to talk about because there's other housewife shows out there that really drag us down. Right now, it's like every single night we've got something to look forward to. We've got something to talk about the next day. And it's just easy living. And that's the
It's
best way to
easy
do it.
living.
Yeah.
Roni's gonna have to pick it up. The more I've pondered on Roni, the less impressed I was with the season premiere. I hope that they can
Hmm.
right the ship. And we'll just do a quick little thing here because I want to get to RHOSLC because I'm loving the season. But with Roni, they need to open up. Like I thought about it more and the fact that Aaron didn't want to talk about Abe, and I get it's early in the season, and then Jenna, she's hiding stuff as per usual. Everyone's trying to be so prim and proper. Everyone wants to portray somebody on that show rather than just be yourself. If you're messy, be messy. If
Yep.
you're not messy, don't be messy. If you're wacky, be wacky. Everyone wants to put this image out of who they are. Even to Sai, who I do think is trying to make some changes, but at the same time, the more I thought about what we had talked about, is she actually changing? Or did she watch the show and now she's like, I don't want to look like that person, so I'm going to look like this person this season? They need to figure it out because they're getting blasted in the comments. You and I didn't hate the episode. We both thought that
Yeah.
there's room for improvement, and I stand by that. But at the same time, it's like, all right, ladies, if we're going to do this, if you guys are going to be the new Roni, you got to be the new Roni. Like, you guys to step up and be somebody. And right now, I'm seeing a whole lot of meh. This is who I want to be. I want to show you this person, but I'm actually this person. And that's a risky game.
Yeah. No, I think it's actually really funny too because you and I talked about last episode. It seemed like I was quick to judgment about how I felt about it, how I felt like the direction could be going. And then you and I talked about how it looked like I was doing these things and I was making rash decisions very quickly. But I went on Twitter and looked, and apparently my takes were very mild. I was very tame compared to a lot of people going after the show. So it was kind of funny to see that juxtaposed to how I felt and how you and I were talking about last episode. But again,
Mm.
there's so much good going on right now just between OC and Salt Lake that it almost makes other shows that maybe we would nitpick a little more bearable, that we're not going to go after them as much as we would.
Brings him up. Yeah, it brings him
Brings
up
them
to a
up.
different level just because when Bravo's enjoyable as a whole, every show benefits from it. I agree with that. I'm
Yep.
so curious about Potomac. It seemed like the reviews on Twitter were relatively mixed. They
Hmm.
weren't horrible, which is good. That makes me happy because last year they were atrocious every episode. So they're not terrible with the premiere, but they have a lot that they need to figure out and get through, and I'm curious if they're going to be able to do so. But why don't we jump into RHOSLC, which we, as we said, are thoroughly enjoying, and we start out this episode with a little Seth and Meredith moment, which again, I've come to love these moments. At the same time, his comment, Whitney's like high school algebra, pay no attention. Was that a Seth line, or
Hmm.
was that fed to him by Meredith?
No, I genuinely think that was a Seth line, and I'm okay with it. A lot of times,
It kind
it's
of
obviously
tracks.
for
It actually
perks.
works.
It definitely tracks. And what I got from last week when Meredith was talking to her kids about Whitney and doing a Whitney impression, and her daughter said, I love it when you do her impression. It sounds like Meredith talks about Whitney a lot. So I feel like they have conversations about Whitney all the time. And Seth has had some time to ponder on this one. And he came up with a good line. I'm not going to knock him. It's okay. If he has more in the chamber, maybe we'll start pushing those to the side here and there. But right now, I'm all right with it.
Is there something to be said about the amount of real estate that Whitney takes up in Meredith Mark's brain?
Yes, definitely. But
Like
I mean,
she
it's very
rattles
little.
her.
She definitely rattles her, but we've tried to understand Meredith's psyche for certain situations, and I don't want to go down that road again. I can't figure it out. I couldn't
It's
figure it
tough.
out last year, and I'm not going to try to do it again this year.
The funny thing is, if you do the same with Whitney and try to figure out her psyche with things, you'll end up in the same boat where you're just you're literally paddling in a circle. Like I don't know how to navigate this. This doesn't track. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
So
Whitney's brain is like a bag of cats. I don't,
that's a good
who
way
knows?
to put it. But quick check in with Bronwin and Todd. Only to say, great sweater, Todd. Nice
Yep,
job. He's a big sweater guy,
he's
apparently.
really showing up with these sweaters. Oh yeah.
Do you think that before the episode's air, he's like, oh God, Bronwyn, what sweater should I wear today? I need you to help me. And To that point, does he have a sweater section in his closet, or is he rich enough that he has a sweater closet?
He probably has a sweater closet, honestly. I bet you the real question is, did he start putting together the sweater collection and then decide to move somewhere where he could use the sweaters more often?
That's a really good. Well, he's in New York a lot, so during the fall, winter, that's a very sweatery kind of spot. My big thing now is sweater collection. Sounds like a great name for a company. Where'd you
Sweater
get that?
collection, yeah.
I got it from the sweater collection. I'm like, ooh,
Yeah,
nice.
or at least like a subset of something at like Nordstrom.
Yeah, go into the
Nordstrom's sweater selection. Selection
what
or
is
collection? Collection.
collection.
Yeah.
Sweater selection at the sweater collection is top
Yes.
notch.
There
There
we
you
go.
go. We got it. But Mary is going on the trip with everybody, which is good. I'm glad that she is taking part in activities this year. We're 2 episodes in, and she has done the ropes course, and now she's going on the trip. She's going by herself. But as Whitney said, the fact that you're going, whatever. I would talk shit about anybody else that would bail on the private jet. I would too. I know you and I would be like, this is bullshit. You got to grin and bear it. With Mary, fine. If you're participating and you have to take your own flight to get there, fine. I don't care. But
I'm okay with it.
yeah, it's fine. But we get to see Sean for the first time this. Did we have him last week? I don't know. I don't remember.
I
But
don't think we had him last week. Maybe we did.
maybe a glimpse, just a glimpse of him.
Just a
But
glimpse.
this is the first scene with Sean and Angie. And a quick question for you: did you know that Angie is Greek?
No, not until I had to question it when I saw the sunglasses, and then I had to remember which flag that was because I don't see the Greek flag that often, especially on Salt Lake. So I had to
Yep,
look it up, and then I realized, oh yeah, she is.
she is. Yeah, I figured that out too.
Yeah.
But it's gotten to the point for me now. There was times where I was like, all right, we got it. You're great. I love it. She
Nah,
leans
just
into
lean
it
into
so
it.
heavy. Yeah, it's great now. And then when she shows up to the game with a fucking flag, a Greek flag as a cape, I'm like, I'm here. I'm in for it. Keep doing you. But as they're chit chatting about Lisa and their issues, and they haven't talked since then, which is interesting. And I think that's going to be the main storyline of this season is the rift between those two. But she brings up Britney and Jared Osmond. And as we know, they've been a little rocky. They've broken up 16 times, which is still strange to me that she keeps track of how many times they've broken up
Uh-huh.
to the point that it's like 16. But we find out that her brow lady, Angie's brow lady, has been chatting with Jared. Jared slid into the DMs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And didn't care to read it. I don't know. It's just
I
like
didn't
kind of
need to read it either,
dorky.
especially just with like her responses too. I
Yeah.
mean,
Well. He is an
royalty.
Osmond,
I
and
know.
she doesn't know that he's with Brittany. I wonder when it came in that she, or sorry, he was with Brittany. The initial
At
slide,
some
did she
point they
know?
talked about it. Yeah. So, uh, I mean, she
Was the
probably knew. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and she's but the response was I'm a little bit of a handful. I bet you'd like a handful. And he says, ooh, do tell. Ooh, you're not good at this,
No,
are you? Fucking Jared Osmond.
just happy we didn't see the follow up to that one.
No, I did. Oh,
You
it's
want
one
it?
of those. I don't, but I kind of do. You know
So
what I
you
mean? Like I
want
don't,
to do tell? Yeah.
but I don't. Like I do, but I don't. Like I need to see
His
how he
game.
speaks. Yes. I want to see his
Yeah.
game, but it makes me uncomfortable and
I
awkward to
don't
read it.
know. I feel like if you're an Osmond, you probably don't need game. It doesn't seem like he needs game. I mean, all he did was
Clearly
slide
not.
in. I mean, she was down right away. Those messages back, she was into it right
She was
away.
DTO. She was down to Osmond.
Uh huh.
But she's actually struggling with, do I tell her? Do I tell Brittany and let her know? Do I not? Sean with he's always a man of many words. Oh yeah, sure. Was his
Sure.
control.
Mhm.
Yep, that's what his contribution was.
When,
But
when are you leaving again? Yeah. All right. See ya.
yeah, are you gone yet? Okay, great. But we get to Lisa and Bronwin, or sorry, but we get to Bronwin pre-trip, and she's struggling because she's really upset with Lisa because Lisa didn't come to her defense at the table, and she claims that they've been friends for a really long time. This was kind of confusing to me because you've been friends with her for a really long time. You should know that this is how she operates. One, two, she didn't throw you out. She wasn't trashing you. She was just
No.
kind of placating. She wasn't really getting involved with it. This is Bronwyn's interesting to me. I think she's great for TV. I think she's great for the show. You can't be overly sensitive to moments like this, to where Lisa's now saying one thing and she seems to be very reactive and is like, I don't know if I feel comfortable going on this trip. It's like,
That's too much. Yeah, that was one line too much for her. I also feel like if Lisa took Heather's role in that whole situation, then sure, maybe you can feel that way because Heather actively threw Bronwyn under the bus and started talking
mhm.
about how she talked about Whitney. If Lisa had done that, okay, fine, I understand your feelings there. I agree with you. Lisa didn't do a whole lot. She didn't defend Bronwyn, but she didn't further it much more. She just stated facts, which Bronwyn herself was also stating the same thing. So it's a little confusing. I think what we're seeing from Bronwyn is we're watching her dialogue in real time figure out how she wants to approach it. She took a
Oh,
soft
okay.
approach here where she's talking about how she doesn't even know if she feels comfortable going on the trip. Too soft, way too soft. The realization that she comes to later in her confessional is spot on. That is
It
perfect.
is.
When you're
That was
sitting,
on, yes.
it was by far probably the most spot on thing that like I didn't even think about it while they were going through it. We're all doing the same thing. Why is it just me that's getting called out right now? You guys do it. Heather does it. I watched Heather do it. I watched Whitney do it. Everybody does it. So why am I being singled out right now? It doesn't make any sense. We can have a whole discussion about all of us doing this, or we could just come to the realization that we all do it and just accept it and move on. It doesn't really matter what we do, but stop singling me out. That's where I think that she got to eventually, and she was working through it, and we're watching her talk through it. And
We
that's
were
kind of
watching
what
her
the scene was.
process.
Yeah, watching her process for sure. But again, I agree with you. Way too soft. Too soft. I don't need a softie. Like Bronwyn came in hot. She seemed like somebody who had her shit together. She seemed like somebody who was going to have a sticking point, especially when Britney walks over and says that she's in a costume. You take offense to that. You can't be sensitive about it. You have to be a little tougher about that. You gotta grow thicker skin.
I was a little worried when she said that. I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
I even wrote grow up, welcome to Bravo. She rebounded well because that was a great point. It's one of the, you could take that statement and put it across the board on every
Yeah,
Bravo show. We all do this. Why am I getting called out for it?
for sure.
Her approach is different because she tries to wheel and deal so that people think that she's telling everybody everything. But the way
Hmm.
that she says things, we'll get to that later, is different from person to person. So that's my one issue where it's like, all right, if you're going to be that person, that's fine.
Hmm.
But you have to own that you're that person. She says, I am shady later on, but at the same time, you're still getting offended that you're getting called out. That's also to her point. This is what we do here.
Uh-huh.
You're going to get called out for shit, even when everyone's talking shit. Sometimes you're under the gun, sometimes other people are.
And you know what the funny thing is, last week or the week before, when she was describing Britney, she said Britney needs to figure out words and how words impact what's going on.
And that's what Heather called her out for.
The biggest difference is she used one word, there were two words in different situations. With Whitney, it was iconic. With Heather and Lisa, it was trite.
Right.
Hmm.
That's correct.
Everything else was exactly the same. It was identical across the board, but the last word that you used to describe it is the most impactful thing. So Brittany, Bronwyn definitely knows that, and she's trying to use it to her advantage, but she gets called out immediately. So she's going to take a different approach, and I like that because she can adapt and change. So hopefully she continues to do that.
Overcome, adapt, and change. That's the
That's what we
slogan
do.
of Bravo. Yeah, damn right. But we're going to Milwaukee or Milwaukee, as Heather points out. When she said that, I was like, that's from Wayne's World. And then
Yep.
she says, I got that. I was like, all right,
Yeah.
nice. And it means the good land. So that's great. Not only did they steal our land, but they stole our words. This episode, did you see it?
What?
Did you see what the casino was called?
No.
Potawatomi. This is my tribe, dude.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah. To everybody out there, I am a card carrying member of the Potawatomi tribe. My actual tribe is the citizen of the Potawatomi Nation. So I was like, hell yeah, this is my people. So I was pumped. But again, stole our land and stole our words. But no, don't worry about it. It's all good. Milwaukee and Meredith is coming along for the ride, which is great. Proud of Meredith. Do what you got to do to get on this trip. There's no
Yep.
reason for you not to be there. That would be a disastrous start to this season if Meredith, who's a key piece, that's that interesting thing about what we have now with this cast is the key pieces, the OGs, are crucial to the success of this show. We
Yeah.
cannot have people tapping out. We cannot have people not going on trips, not getting involved. We have too many newcomers to carry this show. We have to have our OGs representing, and Meredith bucks up and goes on the trip. I'm wondering if she wanted to go or if production's like, dude, you got to go on this trip. Doesn't really matter because she's there. But
Knowing Meredith, I feel like it was more just a move in front of everybody to say, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this.
okay, yeah,
Just so that everybody else looks and goes, oh, Meredith and Whitney, yeah, a little bit on the rocks, huh? What's going on
we go
here?
again.
Get the people talking. And then I'm going to show up and I'm not going to confirm that I'm going. Well, I guess she did text Whitney and say,
Via text, yeah.
I moved. What did she say? I
I
moved
moved
events
some
around.
things around. I can make it to Milwaukee.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. She had nothing going on. She just decided to show up. But she knew she was going in the first place. She just wanted to throw a little wrench in the crew just to see what happened.
No, her and Seth had to play taint hockey in a hot tub.
Yeah. That's
Bathtub.
true.
Sorry, bathtub. My bad. Don't want to get that wrong. But
I
I get
definitely
to
like
learn it.
bathtubs.
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Be like bathtubs. They are different. We don't have to do this
She's
again. I
definitely
told
like
you my.
tub. She's a tub elitist. So if you start throwing other tub phrases in there, no. Only bathtub.
Oh, bathtubs only, and only the ones with the clawed ones. The clawed bathtub.
Oh, the claw. Yeah. The feet.
The feet or the
Uh-huh.
claws. I forget what there's a name for it. I do believe it's clawed something. Maybe it's clawed tub. I don't fucking know.
Clawed
But we
tub.
get to learn about Mary. Her dad's from Milwaukee and arguably could have been the person to take down Dahmer had he decided to act on it.
Yeah. He's just curious. He's just being nosy.
Wait, look, the legend or myth of Mary Cosby lives on. This is fucking insane. And only because if it was if true, yeah, I don't believe it's true. I don't actually believe that at all. But let's just for entertainment's sake say that this is true. Okay? You have a person that has married her grandfather, runs a cult, aka church. Her father was down the street from Jeffrey fucking Dahmer. Not only did he live down the street, he was close enough that he smelled the dead bodies daily. And a week later, everything went down and her dad saw everything. That, I can't fathom why there's not a documentary on this family yet. What are we doing here? If this is true and you put the pieces together, like this is gold. We need to produce this. I'm not kidding. If we really hit it big, we're going to fucking produce this documentary.
Yeah, we have.
And then the cult's going to kill us and then we're going to live in infamy.
That's okay. I'm all right with that.
I'm down for that. No, I'm not. I got too much to live for.
That's a good point.
But I need to know more. The fact that she brought this up, just ho-hum. I'm like, what do you mean he lived down the street from Jeffrey Dahmer? Why do you have connections to all these crazy things?
It's so funny because when she says stuff like that, I don't even bat an eye. Like, not even remotely even think about it. I just go, oh, yeah, that's typical for Mary. Could be making it up. Never really believe what she's saying unless she's talking about something that she herself went through. I honestly, I figured that her dad maybe exaggerated a little bit, maybe threw a joke or something in there, and she just took it as gospel. She's like, oh, yeah, my dad was there. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, perhaps. But I do have a genuine question watching her struggle with her bags through the door. And I'm not even trying to be rude here. This is going to come off really mean. I don't care. I'm genuinely, I don't understand how she functions daily without a chaperone. Like, if I was her son, I would be concerned when she left the house that she wouldn't be able to find her way home. Like, just watching her walk.
Son is concerned?
No, not him. I'm saying if I was her son.
Who's going to cash at me $60 if she goes down?
That was the funniest fucking phone call. But I'm serious. Just watching her function in the real world, I'm like, how do you operate? Because you're so on a different planet. It doesn't make sense to me how you navigate society when I watch you interact with other people. Like, how do you get through your days? It's remarkable.
Hell if I know. I mean, she's an absolute enigma. The fact that she's able to go season to season, seemingly being friends with people that she said the season prior, I want nothing to do with them. Like, she's just cool with Whitney now and nobody bats an eye. She gives her a big hug at the airport. Obviously the bobblehead situation, which we'll talk about in a second. And she's cool. She's like best friends with Angie, who she didn't even know who was last year. Like, she goes all over the place. The way that she operates is an absolute mystery to me, but I'm always locked in.
Well, I am too, but it always, you know what it takes? It takes one random moment that's seemingly innocuous to 99.99999% of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? It's something that we would see and not even register. That's what it takes to flip her mindset on a human being. Look at Angie. You got lipstick on your tooth. We're besties.
Thank you. Yep.
Whitney probably did something similar where she's like, wow, you love me, don't you? I love you too. And it takes, like, she probably said, hey, there's gum, don't step on it. And she's like, wow, you look out for me and you have my back and my shoes and I love you and we're best friends now too. It takes something like that. And at the same time, you can get thrown off of the wagon by something that's not intentionally mean. And she takes it mean, such as Heather commenting on her chairs. That was blasphemy when she talked about her chairs in her book. And she didn't say anything mean about her chairs. She just brought up the chairs. And that was like, oh, we're not friends anymore. Fuck you. But I have lipstick on my teeth. I love you, Angie. It's her brain. That's my point. I don't understand how she operates in normal society daily. No, I don't think I want to. But we learn about Jack Barlow and having some health issues down in Colombia, and LB's a little torn up about it, understandably so. Her baby boy is gone in a different country, and she can't help but props to JB for saying, nope, Mom, I'm going to figure this out on my own. I'm down here, going to take care of it. So T's and P's to JB. Hopefully he's all on the mend from that. But we get filled in on what this trip entails. I'm excited. This is a trip that we should be on because they're going to a Bucks game. They're sitting in a suite. And we have a Bobblehead Museum, which was so funny when she brought it up. We're going to a Bobblehead Museum. I'm like, oh my God, fuck yeah, well played, Whitney, until she explains to the group why we're going to the Bobblehead Museum.
Yeah, I know.
Like, because Mary called me a bobblehead. It's like, don't explain the joke.
Everybody knows
it. Yeah. And if they don't, somebody will tell them. They'll be like, why are we going to a bobblehead? Oh, because she called our bob. Let it play. Like,
even,
so good.
Even Britney in that moment, who wasn't on the season last year, immediately looked at Mary and started laughing. Like, Britney knows. She's a friend of.
I know, and I know I'm nitpicking here, but I was like, you made
I
it
agree.
Funny.
She made it funny, and then she explained the funny. It's like, nope, not funny anymore.
This is no longer funny now. But Heather, I'm going with Heather. We're going to the casino.
Fuck yeah.
Because that would, how much fun would it be to go to the casino with that crew?
Oh, it would be incredible. What's with the Mormons? We've seen so many Mormons going to the casino lately. What's going on here?
I don't know, but the
Mormon 2.0. We finally have a label for it. It's Mormon 2.0. We've been saying Mormon Light, Mormon 2.0. That's what we're doing from now on.
No, it's Mormon Light. You don't get to just make up your own rules and say it's Mormon 2.0. We're going to jump ahead here because her description of what it means to be a Mormon, you avoid anything that's addictive. Okay, fine. That means drugs, alcohol, porn, whatever. Her justification of going to the casino is that she sat next to a kid on a plane that was Mormon who watched porn for 4 hours, meaning that he's an addict. He's addicted to porn. She's not addicted to gambling like this kid is addicted to porn. Therefore, she's not breaking the rules of Mormonism 2.0. You do not get, this goes for any religion. Christians do this all the time. All the time. You can't make up your own rules, act your own way, defy half of the teachings of religions, and then claim that you're part of that religion. That's not Mormon 2.0. That's blasphemy. Just because you're not watching porn with your hood on a plane does not mean that gambling is suddenly okay in the Mormon church. It's not. All right, now 2.0.
Let's break this down a little bit, though. Do you think that kid was actually watching porn on a plane for 4 hours? Or
he was probably watching like Caddyshack, or like it was the sex scene, or he was watching like Wedding Crashers in the beginning when they're like twirling.
First?
I don't know. I was like trying to think of like a sex movie, and for whatever reason that popped into my head because there are some scenes in it, like, you know, Chevy Chase. Who else is boinking? The caddy boinks at one point. I don't know why I went to Caddyshack.
I don't know why you went to Caddyshack either. I was just thinking that the kid was on like TikTok or like Twitter or something, just looking at like hot chicks. He's just
you think he was scrolling through that?
Bad, just hanging out, just like
just down bad with his hood up on a plane, just. And Lisa's like, "Oh my god,
porn."
He's just watching porn. What if it was just like something very, very mellow? What, like, I don't even know. We could do this for hours, but that whole scenario was hysterical to me. And the fact that her justification is this is what addiction looks like. It's a kid on a plane with a hood on watching porn.
Yeah.
I just like to gamble a little bit, guys. Like, come on, let's relax. I know I own a tequila company, which the Mormon church is wildly against alcohol, but I'm 2.0, baby. Yeah. I need to make a book that says the Book of Mormon 2.0 and just start writing down Lisa-isms in there as to what it means to be a Mormon 2.0.
Yeah, it sounds good.
That's what I need to do.
Well, I'll tell you what about the thing that I really liked about this is the groups actually split up evenly, which was nice. I mean, you
Mhm.
bring up a bobblehead museum and then you bring up the casino. That's not a very tough call. It's casino all day. But they at least had a couple people go to the bobblehead so you could split up the group a little bit. And it wasn't in a bad way. It wasn't like, oh, Meredith can't be near Whitney. It wasn't like this or that or whatever. It was just people wanted to go do different things. And I love it. And guess what? We're all going to get back together and we're going to go to the Bucks game a little bit later. That is how a trip's supposed to work. That's exactly how a trip's supposed to work. There's no aggression. There's no arguments going on. People can't sit next to each other. It's just, yeah, you want to go to the casino and gamble a little bit, have a couple of drinks? Sure. You want to go see some bobbleheads and do a little scavenger hunt? Absolutely. Sounds good
Sure.
to me. I'll see you at the casino, me personally, but to each their own.
Yeah, I'll be at the craps table, and then I'll be at the blackjack table, and then back to the craps table, and then I'll be trying to find you at some point because you're going to get lost,
Yeah.
as we know, and
Get
that's
lost
always
in
fun.
casinos. It's just impossible to find your way out of those places.
Dude, I was sitting eating a bowl of noodles, and I was staring at you and calling you, and you were calling me, and I answered, and you hung up on me and called me back. I'm like, dickhead, turn
I
around.
was very confused.
That was a good
I
time.
mean, they're designed to be like that. So what do you want me to do?
Oh, you're saying that the design worked, and that's why you couldn't find me.
Yeah. You ever seen
Did
Percy
Apple
Jackson?
design the iPhone like that?
Yeah.
Percy Jackson? Yeah, I'd seen Percy Jackson.
Yeah, when they go to Vegas, they go into a casino and they have these what do they have? Drachmas or something, or some lotus candies. And then they get sucked in and they don't know where they are and they don't know how long they've been there. That's a casino.
You got Percy Jackson.
I got
at the
Percy
casino.
Jackson. Mm-hmm.
Okay, hey, yeah, the shit happens. But we get to Angie and Bronwin. Bronwyn's still upset with Heather, but she's really mad at LB. And I wrote down, you can't take the heat. You don't mince your words. You can't take the heat. I think that you're correct. What we watched transpire throughout this episode was her process of getting to the point of, okay, this is how these ladies navigate. I got to change my approach a little bit because at the end, I didn't love how she went about it. We'll get to that, just
Yeah.
phrasing wise. But as far as understanding the assignment, I think she's up to speed now. And calling everybody out, it's interesting because it's always one of those things in all of these shows where it's like, we know what's going on, but we don't talk about it. And then when people get caught, that's when they get put under the ringer. So I do like that she called it out. But anyway, she's making threats now about Lisa. She's like, all right, you don't want to. And again, if you go back and watch what happened, Lisa wasn't actively throwing you under the bus. She's like, if she wants to talk shit, what she said about Maylee, maybe I'm not throwing her under the bus, but I'm starting the bus. I guess it would be a big insult to say, like, oh, she's getting blacklisted from Nordstrom for too many returns. That implies that she can't afford the clothes she's getting,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. So
Isn't
that was
Maylee's Whitney's friend, right?
yes.
So like if it was coming from a
I don't
place
know.
of like, why would you talk shit about one of my friends in front of me? Obviously, I'm gonna tell her. This is just another girl in the group that you presumably just met. So you have
Yes.
no real allegiance there. You're just doing this to get back at Lisa. So it
I
doesn't
like
hit as
that.
hard. I like it. Yeah, it's fine. But as we talked about with Lisa last week, she's not going to notice that that's why you're doing it. She's just going to
Mhm.
explain her way out of it and not really care. Same thing goes with the end of the episode where we're talking about how everybody does the same thing. Lisa's still going to recuse herself from the situation and say, "I don't do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I just
Yeah.
I just tell you guys what I'm thinking. I just talk about facts." And then when you try to go back to her, she's, thinking about whatever she's going to say next. But
Or texting somebody.
again, she's trying to throw a bunch of things out there. I still don't know why she feels so hurt by this or betrayed by this. Did she go into the season thinking Lisa brought me on the show? She's going to have me by her back. Like, we're going to have each other's backs. We're going to take on this entire group together and it's going to be great. And then the first or second episode, she realizes Lisa's not always going to be on her side. So now she's spiraling a little bit. I don't know. She does get it together at some point, but right now it still looks really weird.
She's working through it. And the end of the episode gave me much more confidence than
Yeah.
watching all of this because I'm like, look, this is funny. It's going to be fun to watch this mess, regardless of how this transpires afterwards. But in this exact moment, I'm like, can you hang? Can you hang? Are you too sensitive? Are you going to get
I don't
butthurt
know.
about everything they say?
I
I
just
think that
didn't
she
think
figured it
I
out.
didn't peg her to be the sensitive type. I think that's why
I
I'm so
didn't either.
disappointed.
I don't think she's used to it. I
Yeah.
don't think she's used to people crossing her because you watch how people treat her, man. She's here. I'm telling you, like I said last week, it's the Jen Shaw effect. People want to be friends with her because of who she is. But she ends it with, now they tried to out me as a shit talker and they can say whatever and think that, oh, Bronwyn's a little bitch that's going to keep my secrets. I was like, Jesus Christ, that shit wasn't that heavy, man. Like, if you think this was bad, you're in for a lot worse as this
Yeah.
season progresses because this was light work, you know? But Heather and Whitney are talking about Meredith and uh, ah, Whitney's brain. I don't
I
get it.
know. I don't
I don't
get
get
it
it.
either.
She's like, I extended an olive branch by asking her to host a caviar party. That to me doesn't say, hey, let's be friends again, or hey, let's work on this. That to me says, hey, can you bring super expensive caviar on the trip to have like a little caviar thing for my trip?
Yeah,
That's asking a favor.
I love Meredith's response to that. Like, she asked me to bring caviar, and my thought was, "What are you gonna do? Just start selling caviar next?" Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
not falling for this trap.
You're
Because at
trying to
first,
see my product.
we're on the other side of the, like, on kind of on Whitney's side, or at least the logical side, saying she's not trying to steal your clothes. She's not trying to steal your bath bombs. She's not trying to do anything. But this is funny. If you just keep doing it, and every time that she brings something up that you also like, and you keep saying, "Is she just going to steal that from me too?" That's funny. I like that bit.
Just hammer it home, wear it out. I'm here
Yeah.
for it too. It's just hysterical. It's like, no, I don't think she's starting caviar. And it, like we've said in the past, how many health and wellness brands do housewives represent? There's
Oh
a
yeah.
shitload of them, and they probably all sell similar products. I'm not saying they're not successful, but at the same time, a bath bomb is nothing to get
Yeah.
in an uproar about.
Baths are
But
mine.
whatever. It's yeah, I own baths. Heather starts talking about her interaction with Bronwyn and points out to Whitney, hey, the conversation that I had with her was very different than the one that you're claiming that you guys had. And you can see Whitney. She's like, I think she really likes me. Whitney
Yeah.
doesn't want to believe that Bronwyn's capable of talking shit because she's like, I'm friends with Bronwyn. You're going to ruin it, Heather. Stop talking about it. I believe her. I don't know what your game is here, Heather, but I don't like it. And it sets the stage for one of my favorite scenes later. But we get to the Potawatomi Casino, represent. And this is where we get Lisa's explanation of
Mormon
Mormon
2.0.
church, Mormonism, Mormon 2.0, and this dude on the plane watching porn for 4 hours. But over to the Bobblehead Museum. This is the stuff that bothers me. Like, I know Bronwyn's great for TV. She's gonna be great. I hope that she carries through with what she's doing thus far. These comments are just annoying to me, where it's like, the only scavenger hunt I do is at Nordstrom or a store, and I don't tell anybody where I got it. Shut up. We get
Yeah.
it. You're rich. You have nice things. Like we understand.
We didn't need that confessional.
We didn't need it at all. Not even. We got a little shout out to the Kelsey boys, so I appreciate that at the
Yeah.
Bobblehead Museum. Kelsey brothers, hell yeah. When we're back at the casino, though, did you notice the phones at the table?
Oh yeah. Phones at the
They're not
table.
allowed to have phones at the table.
Uh-uh.
How? I guess they are. We're not.
I guess they are, yeah. It kind of goes back to when we were talking about Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, where Zach was sitting at the table, and we actually saw him sitting at the table from a camera. Weird.
Oh
And he
yeah,
was
yeah.
apparently like texting his wife the entire time. So I don't know what's going on with phones at the table. Can't have phones at
Yeah,
the table.
no phones at the table. It's a big
Yeah.
no-no. I do like what Lisa does for Britney. That was good, where she picks up her phone, Jared texts her, and she hits him with the like ho hum. I don't have time for this right now. Like maybe I'll call you tomorrow. Thanks, and ends it with thanks. I was like, hell, that's she's looking out for her right there
Yep.
because that
I
is
agree.
everyone else can see the writing on the wall with this fucking guy except her. Do you think it's because she's actually in love? I do believe she's in love with the guy. Is it the Osmond effect? It's like, I want to marry an Osmond
Yeah,
because
probably.
Osmond
I
money.
think it's part of it, but also I feel like Brittany lives
I
in a
don't want to take away
chaotic
from it.
world. Yeah, no, definitely I don't want to take away from the Osmond of it all. But I feel like Brittany works and lives in a very chaotic world where this just seems normal for her. This is love. This is me and him going
Perhaps.
back and forth. We both care about each other so much that we always get back together. She doesn't focus on the breakups. She focuses on the get back together. And that's the problem in it all.
Yeah.
And that's all she really
Okay.
cares about. She's just, I don't want to say she's like starstruck. She's love struck by it, where you know that as soon as Lisa sent that text message and walked away, she went right back on her phone and she's like, Lisa took my phone. That wasn't me. Sorry.
I'll FaceTime you when I get back to my room. Meredith and Heather are talking about Whitney, and Heather's like, you kind of came off as cold with her, and she thought that the caviar was an olive branch, and that's where we get the line, is she starting a
Mhm.
caviar line? How is that? How is this an olive branch, Whitney? Like, I need to understand how you think that this is an olive branch. But Meredith brings up a little social media post in regards to Whitney's jewelry line. Her
Mhm.
approach to this was very interesting to me. We've seen these two not really get along for a while, right? They're tight. They always seem to butt heads. Whitney just gets under Meredith's skin for whatever reason. I get it. Trust me, I understand her getting under your skin. But for her to take the approach after saying, she's using Ali Baba. Can you replicate how she said Baba?
Baba. Ba
Baba.
Baba. Ba
B A
Baba.
B A U B A W.
Something like
Baba.
that, yeah, and I love the way she goes about it, because in the confessional, she talks a little bit more about how people are talking about it, and she's heard about it, but when she says it to Heather, she says, "Have you seen the comments on that social media?" She acts like she doesn't know what social media is. We know that you know what social media is. We know that you get DMs, and you read through those DMs at your leisure time while you're
You're
laying
not
in the
caught up on your
bathtub.
DMs.
Yeah, like, I truly believe that people are DMing her saying, "Hey, look at this." And it's the side by side comparison of Whitney stuff and that, because they know that it'll probably end up on the show. And how cool of an experience would that be if you could just DM a housewife and be like, "Hey, look at this. What do you think about this?" And then you watch it 6 to 8 months later and realize that your DM got on the show. Lovely. It's fun
It
times.
it is, but it's damning because she's
Uh-huh.
upcharging Alibaba products by like 20%, which is
Mhm.
fucking nuts. And even Heather's like, if this is true or even remotely true, this is kind of a nail in the coffin for her business. Like, this is a really, really bad look.
Yep.
This is where I got confused because Meredith's like, had she just come to me, I would have helped her avoid this. I have 15 years in this business. I could have guided her and helped her out. It's like, why would she come to you when you're mad that she started a jewelry business to begin with?
Is that what
And
she's
now
really
you want,
mad about, though? Is she mad that she didn't come to her for her expertise and knowledge?
oh, you think that's the root of it?
It could be. I mean, who the hell knows? Again, we've tried to figure out where Meredith comes from for any of these things, but maybe that's part of it. Maybe instead of her being upset that she's selling bath bombs, she didn't come to Meredith and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about selling bath bombs, and you're a big tub enthusiast. Maybe you can get involved with
Tub
this.
enthusiast.
Maybe you can get involved in this, and it'll be a little bit of a partnership going on here." Maybe that's what Meredith is really upset about, that she didn't come to her and ask for her help. And because she's trying to, God forbid she goes out and tries to do this on her own. Like, how is she supposed to know I need to go to Meredith before this gets too big because people are saying
You're
that I'm
not really
selling things from
friends.
Alibaba? You guys aren't close. You guys aren't friends. And anytime that she's come to you in the past, you just kind of write her off. So, no, of course she's not going to come to you.
I think you might have hit the nail on the head there. I think you might have figured out what is the problem with Whitney from
We've seen
Meredith's
that
standpoint.
before. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that theory a lot, but we're in the car ride and I don't know how to feel about this. It was fucking funny,
Hmm.
and I love that she owns it to a certain extent. I'm just thinking about Todd and his sweater, hearing this, watching it back, where she's talking about having sex with Todd.
Uh
And she
huh.
was like, oh, I'm old enough to have sex with somebody that has gout. How fucking horrifying. And I was like, whoa, dude, that's your hubspin.
Poor Todd.
Poor Todd. He's he's looking great and dapper in his, I think he had a cat sweater on, so maybe
He
Sutton
did.
should give him a call.
Yeah.
You think he bought it from Sutton?
I hope so. God, I hope so. That's the lineup that we need. That's the duo that we need. Todd and a cat sweater
Sutton and
right next to
Todd.
Sutton. Yeah,
Sutton and Todd would be fucking funny.
I'd love it. I'd be all for it.
But we get to the Bucks game, and Ange,
Showing out.
I do it. Fuck it. Lean
This
into
is
it.
this is the time and place to do it for the Greek Freak. You're going
Definitely.
to be in Milwaukee. You're going to watch Antetokounmpo play. This is the time and place to have the Greek
Stellar
flag.
pronunciation.
Thank
That
you. I've
fucks
done
me up
that a
all
few
the time.
times. I've done that before. This is the time and place because we've seen that before. You see people show up in Greece jerseys. You see people have Greek flags all over the place. This is her time to shine, and she is ready for it. I love it.
Can we talk about the fact that the owner of the Bucks comes down to greet them,
Mhm.
and then we get photo op with Dame Lillard, just
Damn
like, oh
Lillard.
yeah, he
Big fan.
just
I love that
goes
they
up.
all say, and I don't really
Big
believe
fan.
that any of them really are, but Whitney, I'm such a big fan. Ange, Could be a big fan. I'm not really sure. They all talk about how they love
If
basketball.
she watches Giannis, then maybe she has more of a take on Lillard.
It
But
was his first season there, so who
here's
knows?
here's my thing. That's a good point. But here's my thing. Bronwin, if you're going to say you're a stat rat and you're going to say that you know numbers and this and that and the other, you got to further that. I need to know what. Okay, drop a stat line.
Yeah.
What stats do you know? If you're going to claim to be the B-ball girl, that's fine, but you got to back that shit up. And that's for anybody. Anybody that claims to be a stat rat, great. All right, let me hear it. What do you got for me?
All she
What?
has to do is just drop the Tony Snell stat line. Do you know what that is?
I don't see.
0
but I don't
points,
claim to.
0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists, 0 fouls. He went 0 for every stat, but he played 30 minutes.
Wow.
30 minutes,
That's
no
hard to
stats.
do.
Yeah, 29, I think, is the exact number if people want to stat check me on that one. But yeah, it's incredible. That's the best stat thing
Yeah.
of all time.
Well, when I hear that, I immediately think, because you are a bit of a stat rat. You remember that shit, and I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
how. So she said that. I'm like, all right, what kind of Magooterism do you have for me? Because it's like we'll be watching a game and Shooter will pull something out of his ass like, this guy always hits this pitch on like Tuesday in
She's
February.
got
Like,
nothing. Yeah, nothing at all.
no, back it up. If you're gonna be that person, back it up. God damn it! But we get to the suite. Fucking, I can't. This is my point. Like how she needs a fucking chaperone. It's
I
not
know.
safe at this point because Mary's talking about peeing in public restrooms. She
Yep.
doesn't do it. Fine. I know people are like that. You can't do it. Whatever. I don't have a problem with it at all. But her method to avoid peeing is to put a tampon in. Now I
Can't be
know we're
safe.
men.
Yeah.
Okay, I know we're dudes. All right. I do have 2 daughters, a wife, 3 sisters, a lot of women in my life. Okay. For any guys listening, this is important because I hate watching these videos. They pop up on TikTok where they interview guys and ask about tampons and they're clueless. There's 2 holes. Okay. 2 separate holes. All right. The baby comes out of one, pee comes out of the other. All right. Can we just settle this once and for all? How the fuck does Mary not know this? Like, that's alarming. That's not good.
She did say at one point you need like the extra large, and I think she's talking about pads, which then made me
No,
think
she's not. She's talking about it. No, there's
Are you
sizes.
sure?
Here's a lesson for you.
No, I know that.
Oh, are
there's
you one of
sizes.
those?
No. I know that. No, stop it. I know that there's sizes. I know that all of those things.
Stop it.
But I tried to rationalize it in my own head because of what you just said. That doesn't make any sense. That's not how that works. So then I thought maybe she's just lumping it all together and saying, I have a pad down there. And then I realized if she does, that just means she's wearing a diaper. Is Mary wearing a diaper? Is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, I don't know how you went from maxi pad to diaper.
Well,
But
I don't know why
to
we're
answer
even
your
having
question,
this conversation. This is Mary's fault. This isn't my fault.
you're fair. That's fair. This is why I'm saying I'm nervous for her just being out and about. You can't just, that's scary that she doesn't know that that's not where pee comes from.
Nope.
But anywho, Britney FaceTimes Jared, of course, and so way to hold strong there, Britney. But Angie's talking to Bronwin about Jared sliding into Brow Girl's DMs and shows the text. The text is way worse because he goes on the offensive with Britney and I aren't dating and blah, 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 which looks fucking horrible. You see, it's also creepy because it's back to back. He double, triple, quadruple texts in the DMs, and you see 2 unanswered FaceTime calls in there. Like, this is not a good look for old Jared, and I'm curious what his response to this whole thing is because he looks needy and gross.
Well, you can see him on the FaceTime too. They didn't blur it out, so he must have given a release for him somewhere in there.
That's right. Maybe all press is good press kind of thing.
Sure.
Maybe he's like, oh, the ladies have seen my game now, so they're
gonna
gonna
love
know Jared Osman brings the game. Oh, is that just Mormon dirty talk? That's why it's kind of funny.
Yeah, probably.
I think we got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Between Secret Lives of Mormon Wives and this show, we're really starting to.
We're figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah, slowly but surely. But Britney turns around. Her ears were burning a little bit and says, "You guys talking about me?" And they tell her, and Angie tells her what's been going on. I feel bad for Britney. Honestly, she's harmless. I don't see her having like a negative bone in her body. She's aloof as fuck. But I don't think that she's malicious in any way, shape, or form. And she knew what was going on. But this is just the confirmation that she needed. So she bounces. She starts crying. Meredith goes to comfort her and says what we all think. It's like, look, he's breaking up with you because he wants to get a little strange on the side. That's what's happening here. He slid into somebody's DMs successfully. because it just says Osman. That's the only reason this dude gets any ass. For Britney to come to terms with it is another thing. I don't think the Jared Osman saga is over by any means. I
No,
think we're going to see
definitely
more
not.
from this dude. But whatever. What I did not care for you know what I'm going to say, don't you?
Yep, get after it.
Why are we talking about lobster corn dogs again? This is from Schwartz and Sandy's back in VPR 2 years ago when they were trying to figure out that stupid fucking bar.
Mhm.
Why are we running this back? Secondly, who the fuck's eating lobster from Milwaukee? No, I don't want
That was
lobster
more my
Milwaukee.
issue. That's more my issue. A lobster corn dog, really weird to begin with. You can get around it if you're, up in Maine. If they start having that as a delicacy, sure, in the right months. But in Milwaukee, no.
I'm not
I don't
eating
get
that.
it. No.
You're eating a lobster corn dog at a Bucks game in Milwaukee.
Yeah. It doesn't get worse than that, honestly.
that's like sushi at a gas station.
Yeah.
Like, come on, guys. But LB and Bronwin, they're finally that starts to bubble up finally. And I guess Bronwin told this is shady, bro. This is real fucking shady because Bronwin tells Maylee about the Nordstrom comment and not full
really.
on, just says, hey, why don't you go and ask Lisa what she said about your outfit? Which is snaky, bro.
That's
and that's my
very
whole
snaky.
thing. You can play the game for sure. You know how to dish this shit, but that was my whole issue was can you take it? That's going to be my big question mark for her because you know how to set up the pieces. We've watched it. Episode 1 was a masterclass on covering your tracks.
Yep.
We always talk about having contingency plans if you're going to play the game a certain way. And we always bring up Gina as the no-no on how to do this, where you come up with a plan, but you don't think about the fallout.
Yep.
Bronwyn's already started thinking about the fallout, but the question was, can you take the heat when it falls back on you? And she starts the game because she's still butthurt about what happened at dinner the other night, tells Maylee, and Maylee, to her credit, she's rising to the occasion. I'm still curious how she's going to fit into this group. I don't know if she's going to be a star or not, or even a repeat. But I do like that she goes right up to Lisa and goes, hey, Bronwyn told me to ask you about my outfit for 2 reasons. 1, she brings it up to her and asks her, what about my outfit? 2, she throws Bronwyn under the bus and says, Bronwyn told me this. So now Bronwyn's involved, which Bronwyn may not have wanted to happen, but that's what happens when you play like this. So I'm proud of Maylee. I don't know about Maylee yet, but
I like
that
that
was a
she at
good
least
moment.
stood up for herself. I'm with you. The jury's still out on how she's actually going to impact the season. And again, really all we have to go off of is the first couple episodes where she just had that one line last week. She's involved this week, but only because she's a chess piece for Bronwyn to use against Lisa. And again, last week when Angie was on Watch What Happens Live, she said that she didn't get a whole lot out of Melee this year. So I don't know. I mean, look, if this is all she's going to do is just be used by other people, then I don't really want her to come back for her own well-being, especially because it sounds like she has so much going on. She's like working all the time. She's all these kids and stuff. So it might not be a good fit for her. But right now, she's involved. So we have to see if she can do it. And look, Lisa Barlow isn't the easiest person to go over and just ask point blank, hey, what'd you say? So she did it. I'll give her props for that.
And we'll see where she goes, the tale of Maylee and where she ends up. But Bronwyn starts to call out Lisa, and I think this is where she starts to figure out how this game is actually played. Because LB is like, look, it was just a snarky comment. It wasn't that deep. It was a joke. And Bronwyn, great rebuttal's like, oh, so when you do it, it's a snarky comment. But when I do it, it's a big issue. Now I'm being mean, but you're being funny. What's the difference there? And that includes Heather. So now she drags Heather into it. I'm like, damn, she's going after everybody right now. So I like that she doesn't shy away. Let's get all of this out in the open right now, and we'll try to hammer it out. Lisa tries to backtrack and fix it. But at the same time, she's just highlighting the fact that I really didn't throw you under the bus. No, I didn't jump to your defense. But at the same time, what was being said was true. So what do you want me to do there? I just didn't get involved. I thought that was my way. And by the way, I'm sorry if I didn't defend you. In the future, I'll try to. And it starts to fall apart a little bit. And that's when Heather gets involved. And she's like, look, I don't want to put you on blast, but you said some shit. And she's like, you did put me on blast. And this is where I was like, all right, shut up.
Yeah.
I hate when people talk like this, especially when they're not that person. All right. The socialite from wherever is not this person. You're going to get correct on our friendship. We're going to get correct about this. It's like, don't tell anybody you're going to come correct and start to get tough and shit. And I love that Heather calls it out in the confessional where she's like, all right, dude, fucking relax. Like, you're going to come correct, blah, blah, blah. Like, suck my butt.
Suck my butt.
Suck my butt.
No, but I do like that
Essentially.
Bronwyn at least like made the extra effort to bring Heather in because Heather was lurking behind. She's waiting to see because Heather's still talking about this. And that's the other thing
Mhm.
that she maybe Bronwyn doesn't realize, or maybe she thought that's what was going on. The funny thing is with Lisa, Lisa is over it. Lisa has moved on. She doesn't
She's
realize it.
done.
And she really hasn't done anything. So like I'm kind of on Lisa's side where why would this take up real estate in my mind? I don't think anything is really weird. I'm just going to act like everything is cool with Bronwyn because I haven't heard anything. Fine. Heather's still talking to Whitney about what happened, and Bronwyn is still working behind the scenes to try to get it out in the open so they can have this discussion. So you can see Heather standing back there, just like a foot or two back, peering over, seeing what's going on. Heather is about to do what Bronwyn ends up doing, in my mind.
Mhm.
I think Heather's going to jump in and start talking about it all over again. Bronwyn just beat her to the punch. The problem is, Bronwyn couldn't sustain that energy. She went after it in the wrong way. You said you got to come correct if we're going to get this all together for our friendship, if we're going to be friends. She had Heather in a bad position, and then she immediately let her out of it. So that's the problem. She just needs to learn how to
Yeah.
work it a little better.
She's gonna get there, I think.
Yeah.
I think you
She has the
painted it
right
perfectly early
idea.
on.
Yeah.
She does, and she's navigating and learning along the way. It's interesting watching this process, as you said earlier on, play out and her start to figure out certain things.
Yeah.
She's great. Like for this show, she is doing a good job, and it's going to be really interesting if she does figure out how to play the game without getting overly sensitive to certain things. Heather goes on the offensive with it though and says, "Here's the difference. You went to Whitney to try to spin zone this thing. We didn't do that." She goes, "Oh yeah, because what I said to Whitney is exactly what we said in the car." And this is where that line comes out where it's
Uh-huh.
like, "Did you practice that in the mirror? That was iconic." To Whitney. "Did you practice that in the mirror? That was so trite." Heather and Lisa Barlow. So again, you're close and you're playing it right. And the best thing for you is that Whitney is Whitney. And here's Heather defending her. Your cousin has finally got your back. She's finally doing what you want her to do. And you are so enamored with Bronwyn that you see fault in Heather, where it's like Heather mistrusts a lot of people. And I think she's placing that mistrust in Bronwyn, who's very nice. No, Bronwyn's witch. Bronwyn is rich. You want to be friends with Bronwyn.
Yeah.
Heather's ruining that, and that's pissing you off because you can't sit there and think that Bronwyn doesn't like you.
But this just occurred to me. If you're
Hmm.
Whitney and you've gone through this now, what is this, season 5? You've gone through this a lot with Heather. Yes, she's your
That's
cousin.
true.
Yes, you guys always seem to get back together. But Heather does turn on you at some point pretty much every season. So are you going to
True.
trust
That's
that, or are
true.
you going to maybe try to align yourself with a newcomer who you can maybe identify as a stronger person, maybe somebody that could be an ally moving forward,
Perhaps.
especially if you see a potential? And look, maybe I'm giving Whitney way too much credit. I know that I'm
That
giving
was my
Whitney
next
way
thing.
too much credit, but
There you go.
you see that potentially there's a rift between Lisa and Bronwyn, who were supposed to be friends going into this. You don't want to go up against all of them. You've already got some issues with Lisa. You see a rift there. Align yourself with Bronwyn. Don't align yourself with Heather, because Heather's going to turn on you at some point. You're going to do something that's, you might seem as innocuous, but Heather's going to turn on you as she's done in the past. So maybe just sweep this one under the rug with Bronwyn, support her a little bit. You and Heather are going to be fine eventually. You're going to get back together and be cousins and have a bunch of fun and steal some things and do whatever you did in the morning. I don't know what the fuck that was all about. We didn't talk about that.
Me neither.
What was that? What were they drinking? Bubbly? Champagne in a can?
No, it was a Celsius and a shot, it looked like.
Oh,
I think
okay.
the Celsius was the chaser.
I was
The
confused.
Buzzing
Oh,
Cousins.
that's good. It's like a Jaeger bomb. Great.
Yeah,
But
pretty much.
either
You speed it
way,
up, slow it down at the same time. It's great for your
yeah.
heart.
But I think this is a good move by Whitney. I don't think she means to do this, but for her lasting longer this season, I think it is a good move to align yourself with Bronwyn versus Heather.
But you're giving her away. That's not what she's doing. I
I know.
agree with you.
I know.
Great move. She's not thinking that far ahead.
No, I
But
know.
Bronwyn says she has two things. One, where it's like, I don't have any experience with Whitney other than that night. And to Heather's point, it's like, then why do you feel the need to speak on? You don't know her, to your point, Bronwyn. But two, what we talked about earlier, one of the most true lines ever. Everyone's doing this. Why am I getting called out for doing this when all of you are doing this? And I'm really, really happy that Bronwyn did that. She
Yeah.
ripped the band-aid off. She pulled the veil back and was like, look, all of you talk shit all the time. You're putting me on blast for this? Like, fuck that. I'm gonna blow it all up. And I hope that next week she goes up to everybody and says, she said this about you, she said this about you, and she said this about you. Good luck, fuckers. Like,
Yep.
that would be a great way to spin this, and I hope she does that. Time will tell. But her story arc thus far has been very interesting for a newcomer, and she's
Yeah.
coming strong.
I would agree
So
so. Yeah, and it doesn't seem like she's trying too hard. She's already in these
there's
situations.
moments,
There's moments, well,
but
yeah, there's moments usually like her confessionals. There's moments where she just gets involved randomly and says the wrong thing for sure. But for the most part, it seems organic. And I feel like that's the best way to do it. And usually they kind of string the newcomers along or they try way too hard in the beginning. This is the first time that we've seen a newcomer get involved with something very crucial to the season, very crucial to the mainstays of the show. And I
it's
mean, yeah,
working.
she's got some moments, but it's working, and she's, for better or worse, holding her own for now. We'll have to see if she
She's
can
doing
back
fine.
it up. Yeah, as long as she doesn't let it get to her, she'll be okay.
That's the thing with newcomers. Sustainability. Sustainability is important and not
Sustainability.
easy. So we shall see. But let's get to some questions. Let's do 3 because I got to get back to my baby girl. Up first from Holy Beck's Batman. Is Angie K Greek? We can confirm after much
Yep.
deliberation, she is in fact Greek. From Max June. No, we gotta answer his questions all the time.
Yeah.
From Mindful Museums. Why is Mary being nice all of a sudden?
It's a good question. I don't really know what the hell's going on with Mary. She's not being, I mean, she's definitely not being nice to Britney. We saw that last week. She's not very nice in her comments about Maylee last week. But as I said earlier, it's just weird that she's fine with Whitney. She's cool with Angie K. It's one of her best friends now. I don't know if she's being nice. It just seems like she's trying, which is weird. I don't think it's sustainable though. I think by the end of the season, I keep thinking about it. I think by the end of the
It's
season,
just
we're gonna
gonna
be like,
flip.
Mary, I don't want to, yeah.
It's gonna flip. And that's leads us to our last question from our resident Mary Stan Outdoorlos. Can we all agree that Mary is SLC's MVP? He answered his own question with a yes. MVP, Los? No. Will I
No.
admit she's having a strong season? Yes. She's doing
Yes.
very well. I'm enjoying her and I'm enjoying what she's bringing to the show. I'm glad it hasn't gotten super nasty. It's quirky, it's strange, as she does so very well, and she is showing up. So, yes, she's on a great trajectory. She's having a phenomenal season so far. I'm curious how that's going to go. Like you said, can she continue to do that without
Right.
having that moment where it's like, oh, there's Mary. Fuck, she's back. Because
Hmm.
as of now, the drama's light. She still says mean shit, but it doesn't hit nearly as hard, and
Yeah.
she's doing good. So, yeah, I agree with you, Lo. She's having a very strong season. MVP. Look, we don't decide MVPs till the end of the season. That's how shit goes.
No, we could do a midseason MVP at some point, but we're not there yet.
We ain't there yet, pal, but you're right. She's very strong right now. So, uh, other than that, you got anything else?
Nope.
Well, Brav Bros are out of here. Go Phils.
Go
They're
Phils,
tuning into
everyone.
that game. We need your support.
Sure.
Brav Bros are out of here.
Later.